Back in the late 2000s, a new kind of action hero emerged, a man willing to do whatever it took to save his daughter. His name was Bryan Mills. While the Taken movies eventually declined in popularity, they left behind one iconic phrase. But have you wondered, who is Bryan Mills? How did he become the skilled operative who now lurks in the shadows with his only remaining mission being to keep his daughter safe? What if you could go back and learn how he became the man we see in the movies? The Taken TV series was created as a prequel to the popular films, but with a modern setting. After a decade of Bryan Mills' existence solely on the big screens, his origin was finally brought to life. The series revealed that the tragedies Bryan faced in the movies were not his first. He had lost more than most people could ever bear, but he never stopped fighting. A hero who never gives up? He was wired from a young age to protect others because he knew the world needed more people like him. His origin story adds a new chapter to the Taken universe. And yet before it had the time to shine, the series was cancelled. That's something every TV fan has experienced at some point. In life, we don't always get what we want. And for those of us who love television as much as I do, that means certain shows get cancelled, and sometimes way too soon. Welcome to week 3 of Shows That Should Have Been, a mini-series where I spent an entire month looking at shows that had the potential to be something more if only they had been given another chance. This week, we're diving into Taken. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and check out my other 2 weeks of Shows That Should Have Been after this one. And now, without further ado, let's explore Taken. To understand why the show had so much potential, we have to look at what made its premise so compelling in the first place: the metaphorical and literal use of the title Taken. The word taken carries a strong message, and there are so many meanings behind its word. Whether it refers to someone being taken from you, or even a simple example like something being stolen, the word holds weight. Then there are the more metaphorical meanings, such as having your identity taken away or feeling like the world itself has been taken away from you. Both literal and metaphorical interpretations highlight the many ways in which something can be taken. The Taken movies use this title with clear intent. Bryan Mills is a man who is consistently forced to reclaim what's been taken from him. Whether it's his daughter, his sense of self, or even his life as he once knew it, the title encapsulates the core struggle of each film. The prequel series continues to honor this theme, ensuring that in every episode, something is taken, and it's up to Bryan and his team to set things right. Now, if there's one thing we learned from the Taken movies, it's that you do not mess with Bryan Mills. He's a righteous man, but he's also relentless, someone who refuses to let injustice slide. The series keeps the same energy, showing us how he became that kind of a person in the first place. Bryan is driven by a burning desire to help people. He isn't the character who drastically changed from the series to the films, rather he grows wiser as he continues his mission. Nurtured by those around him, we see how he builds the connections that shaped him into a man we know in the movies. His unwavering sense of heroism, even as he gets older, proves that Bryan Mills is not a man to be messed with. Now you might be asking, why renew it for more seasons? That's a fair question. After all, doesn't the series have to end before the first movie begins? And yes, that's true. But here's the problem. After 2 seasons, Bryan Mills' journey still hadn't set up many of the major things we see in the films. Bryan's journey in the first 2 seasons showed that he had created a strong connection with trained operatives just like himself, while also being part of operations that stopped grave threats. But it's also true that with all the operations and operatives he has met, we have not yet met the 3 operatives that Bryan is really close with during the movies. Although there have been subtle references that avid fans might notice, none of the 3 amigos that Bryan formerly worked with have entered the picture. Some fans might argue that this series is not meant to be a true prequel, as the narrative takes place in modern time. But that doesn't bother me. Even with the modern settings, there is still a natural flow from the series to the movies. These are the moments I wanted the prequel to explore: the first meeting of Bryan with characters like Sam, or how he first came to meet his ex-wife, Lenore. These are the gaps in his backstory that the series never got the chance to fill. Although it was very intriguing to see Bryan in action, witnessing his character growth and learning more about his personal life, like the tragedies he endured, losing his sister, and even details about his family and upbringing. Seeing the man he was when he was younger was great, but the future of the series could have tied into things that we as fans of the movies knew would eventually happen. By having the series introduce Sam, we could have had a great next chapter in the Taken prequel. Another thing that keeps me wondering is the fate of the original characters in the series. As much as I was invested in seeing the movie's character pop up, the series also introduced great new characters, especially Christina Hart. Her presence in Bryan's life as his main mentor figure and the first person to always believe in him after losing his sister was incredibly impactful. The lingering question of what happened to her will always haunt me. It's one of those unanswered stories that makes every rewatch bittersweet because we'll never get the closure that the series deserved. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next week for the final episode of Shows That Should Have Been.